Hey, I'm Mike Backrell, and today we're going to take a look at Bruce Forman's 3-note groupings, and we're going to see how this concept is one of the crucial building blocks of the bebop language. Let's take a look. Usually in my videos, I break down the line first and then get into the concepts. But first, we're going to start with the concept today. So Bruce Forman used to always tell me that bebop scales were invented as a way to sell books. I completely agree with that, because Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, all those guys, they didn't play bebop scales. They were invented later. They were invented as a way to try to explain what they were already doing. And this isn't to discourage you from using bebop scales. I don't personally use them or think of them in any way, but if they help you, continue using it. It's a tool. What Bruce broke down for me was what those guys were actually doing, and not what the bebop scales are trying to approximate that they were doing. So the way Bruce's concept works is, we're going to take a C major scale, and we're going to fill in every whole step that the scale contains with a half step. So we're going to go from C to D, the root to the second. We're going to throw in the chromatic. From the second to the third, we're going to throw in a chromatic. Now, the third and the fourth are a half step apart, so we can't put a chromatic there. But the fourth and the fifth are a whole step apart. The fifth and the sixth are a whole step apart. The sixth and the seventh are a whole step apart. And then the seventh to the root are a half step. And so let's take a look at Bruce's line. This line comes from something that Bruce improvised for me so I could record, and I transcribed, and the whole transcription is available on Patreon for free for everyone. So I'll leave a link in the description for that. Bruce demonstrated this concept over the changes of Joy Spring. And this portion of the line, a quick 2-5, G minor 7, C7, going to F major 7 for a whole measure, and then a quick 2-5, F minor 7, B flat 7, going to E flat major 7 for a whole measure. So the line starts over G minor 7. So we got C, B, B flat. So we're walking from the fourth of the G minor 7 chord down to the third, and we're just filling in the gap. And then over C7, Bruce plays E flat, D, D flat, E flat. So he's playing out of the altered scale, and he's filling in the gap between the sharp 9 and the flat 9. And then we land on C, which is the fifth of an F major 7 chord. So that 2-5 would look like this. And once we get to F major 7, Bruce does this kind of Coltrane pattern. Fifth, third, second, root, second, third, fifth. And then we go to F minor 7. And we do the same thing there. We go from the fourth of the F minor 7 chord, the B flat, and we walk down chromatically to the A flat, which is their flat third. Then for the B flat 7, we go up to C, and Bruce walks down to A. So we're walking from the second down to the root, and then we go down another half step, which could lead us down to our flat 7, but we're going to resolve here to E flat major 7 on the B flat. So that 2-5 looks like this. It sounds like what something Bird would play. And then once we get here, B flat, G, D, C, D, F, G. So the full sequence looks like this. Just filling in some of these gaps instantly makes it sound like you're playing bebop rather than playing a scale. And we can move these a bunch of different directions. So let's take a look at some variations I came up with to help illustrate this concept. This first one is just G7 to C major 7. And so I'm starting on B, which is the third of our G major 7 chord. And I'm going to walk down chromatically all the way to G, from my third to my second, and the second to the root. And then from there, I go to my flat 7, my F natural, and then I'm going to go to my fifth, my D. I'll walk up to E, which resolves me right to my C major 7 chord. That's the line I definitely got from Bruce, and I know he got it from Dizzy and all those great bebop players that came before him. Once we get to C, E, G, E, C, D, B. Pretty typical way to end a line. So here's the full line. The second example line I have is played over a long 2/5 in the key of E flat. So we have a full measure F minor 7, a full measure B flat 7, and then we land on E flat major 7. Now over the F minor 7, I'm going to walk down from the 5th to the flat 3rd. So I'm going from C, B, B flat, A flat. Root, 2nd, major 7th, which leads us back to the F, which in this case is now part of the B flat 7 chord, it's the 5th. And you see this looks a lot like what we just played over the G7, right? And it's the same sequence. Instead of going from the major 3rd to the root of a dominant, going from the 5th to the flat 3rd of a minor 7. This is a piece of vocabulary I use all the time. Okay, and then once we get here, we're on B flat 7. So we're on F, the 5th. And we just walk down the scale. F, E flat, D, C, B flat, A flat, F, F sharp, G. And that takes us to E flat major 7. Again, that's the same exact phrase I used on the G7 chord to get to C major 7, right? This is a crucial piece of vocabulary you should have in your playing. Now, once we get to E flat major 7, we go G, B flat, C, B flat, E flat, C, B flat, E flat. And you'll recognize that's just a piece of the melody from In Walked Bud, the great Thelonious Monk tune. So here's that full line. Now for this last example, this is a long 2/5 in the key of C again. So we have a full measure D minor 7, full measure G7, landing on C major 7. We're going to start here on the 5th of the D minor 7 chord in A, jump up to C, A sharp, B, then G, A, F. That's our D minor 7 portion. And you see we're filling in the gap from the 5th to the 6th on the D minor 7 chord. And once we get to G7, we're going to do a line that I did a lesson on a year or two ago that I got from Charlie Parker. It's such a great line. And so we're going to play G, F, and then we're going to kind of sweep down an F major triad. So we had C, A, F, and then jump back up to E, D, C sharp, B, C. So we're using the chromatic as a way to enclose the C now, rather than just play it down. And then we land on a G to finish it out. So here's the full line. Once Bruce showed this to me and I started to explore it, I really started to fully grasp what the jazz language is. Before that, I was playing all the arpeggios, I was playing all the correct scales and everything, but it didn't sound like jazz. I wasn't playing any wrong notes necessarily, but it didn't have that certain something that made it sound like jazz. And this is what was lacking in my playing, is these chromatics and then finding ways to weave in and out of them. So I hope you'll have a lot of fun exploring this concept. And I would recommend taking Melodies of Bebop heads, grab your copy of the Charlie Parker Omnibook and look at his solos and see how often you can see him doing this, because he does it all the time. In the comments, let me know, what is your favorite bebop melody and what is your favorite usage of this that you've heard? So thanks for checking out this lesson. Keep practicing. I'll see you next time.